The end depends upon the beginning, so pour a libation to Hestia. A child of the immortals offers fire to the immortals. O blessed Hestia, mistress of fire and light, flesh of my soul, bring into my home your divine fire. Let my house partake of your wisdom, love, and power. O blessed Hestia, be welcome in my home. Alright, so what is the purpose of religious practices, prayers, and offerings? Why do we honor the gods? That is what we're going to discuss here and cover chapter 15 of On the Gods in the World. Don't forget, you can also get a new translation by Monty Plaisance, and I will link it in the description below. So starting off, why do the gods need offerings from us? What do they obtain by us doing so? If you look towards some modern Hollywood movies, you may believe that the gods need and require offerings and prayers from us for their own survival. This is also not something I see discussed on online communities. Throughout older texts, we see mention of offerings and sacrifices and animal sacrifice, and it is seen as barbaric and cruel in our modern era. But hopefully, through this video, we can come to an understanding of the mysteries surrounding sacrifice, offerings, and rituals, and dispel the confusion around some of these practices. Now, the divine, by its nature, is perfect and self-sufficient, as we have discussed in detail within other videos in this playlist. It lacks nothing and exists beyond the limitations of need or deficiency. The gods, in their divine essence, are not dependent on the offerings, prayers, or rituals that we offer to them. This concept reframes our understanding of worship as the honors we pay to the gods through sacrifices, prayers, or devotions are not for their benefit but for our own. These acts of worship and devotion are performed not to fulfill any need within the realm of the gods, but rather it is a manner in which we can align ourselves more closely with the divine order, which, if done, we open ourselves to receive the blessings and wisdom that the gods are willing to bestow. With this understanding, we see that the purpose of religious practices is not transactional but transformative, as it is designed to elevate us spiritually and bring us into harmony with the divine. The extension of divine providence is universal, which implies that the care of the gods and their influence is always present. However, in order for us to receive their energy and to partake of their beneficent and uplifting influences, we have requirements on our part. We must cultivate a form of inner readiness or receptiveness to their energy. This preparation is described as a state of being that makes one fit to receive divine blessings. To simplify this, divine grace is always available, but it requires that we, as individuals, be in the proper spiritual condition in order to receive it. This condition is not something that is just there, but is cultivated through the process of imitation and similitude, or becoming like the divine in our thoughts, actions, and virtues. The very idea of imitation shows that we are capable of shaping and forming our character to reflect the divine qualities that we are in search of. Just as a mirror reflects the image of whatever is placed before it, we must strive to reflect divine attributes such as goodness, wisdom, and purity in order to attune ourselves to the nature of the gods. This transformation that we undergo through imitation is not just a superficial mimic of the gods, but rather it is a deep inward cultivation of virtues that resonate to the divine. Through acts of devotion, ethical behavior, and self-discipline, we are able to shape our souls so that they mirror the divine order. In doing so, we make ourselves more receptive to the beneficial energy of the gods, ensuring that our prayers and religious practices are not simply external rituals, but rather a genuine transformation that aligns us with the divine forces of the universe. Ultimately, this entire process makes it evident that while the divine does not need us or our offerings, we are in need of the divine in order to grow and flourish spiritually. The honors we offer to the gods are but pathways for our own advancement, creating a state of readiness within us that allows divine influence to flow freely into our lives. Through imitation of divine qualities, we become like the divine, and, in this likeness, are capable of experiencing the fullness of their providence. Just as all habitude is produced through imitation of the gods, it is necessary that the temples of the gods also imitate the heavens. This idea that the temple imitates the heavens points to a deep symbolic connection between sacred architecture and the cosmos. Temples in many religious traditions are constructed as microcosms of the universe. Remember the Hermetic maxim, as above, so below. They embody a higher order and reflecting the structure of the heavens, as the heavens are seen as the dwelling place of the divine and representing order, perfection, and eternal. This implies that temples are designed to not just be physical structures, but rather sacred spaces that mirror this divine order here on earth. This architecture, orientation, and sacred geometry often aligned with celestial patterns, such as the movement of the stars, the cycles of the sun and moon, and the cardinal directions. In this manner, temples are more than places of worship. They are the embodiment of cosmic harmony, which invites worshippers to enter the realm that echoes the divine order of the heavens themselves. So within the temples, we find the altars, which by contrast are said to imitate the earth. Just as temples reach upwards towards the divine and the celestial, altars are grounded here in the material world and symbolize the connection between the divine and the earthly. The altar is where we make our offerings, where we perform our sacrifices, and where the physical and spiritual meet. It represents the earth's receptiveness to the divine will and its role as a mediator between the human and the sacred. Altars are seen as places where heaven and earth come into direct contact, and the offerings made upon them are symbolic acts of returning a portion of the earth's abundance back to the divine. Thus, while the temple brings heaven to earth in its structure, the altar raises the offerings of the earth toward the heavens, in the same way that the elevated altar unites the earth with the heavens, an inverted altar can unite the earth with the underworld. Statues within the temple are made to resemble life. They embody the idea that the divine manifests in forms that are comprehensible and relatable to mankind. The statues of the gods are not seen as mere artistic representations, but as reflection of life itself. These statues are imbued with a likeness to living creatures, which captures their vitality, presence, and power. This resemblance to life that they represent is what makes statues similar to animals, as they imitate the vitality and animation of living beings. Within this way, statues bridge the gap between the transcendent qualities of divinity and the material world that we live in. They allow us as worshippers to engage with the divine in a form that reflects the natural world, making the gods accessible and familiar while still retaining their otherworldly power. This imitation of life in the statues is also connected to the idea that life itself is an expression of the divine. Just as animals and humans are seen as animated by a spark of the divine life, statues serve as physical vessels that channel the energy of the gods. They are not merely inert objects, but are often believed to house the presence of the divine, especially when consecrated through ritual. In this way, statues show the belief that the divine can take on form, becoming present within the physical world. This connection between statues and animals underlines the concept that all living things are part of the divine order, and that every inanimate object, when crafted in likeness to life, can participate in the sacred. The symbolism of temples, altars, and statues reflect a connected worldview in which the heavens, the earth, and life are all part of the same divine fabric. Temples bring the heavens down to earth, altars connect the earth to the heavens, and statues embody the divine in forms that resemble the vitality of life. Together, they represent an understanding of the cosmos, where every part of the natural and spiritual world mirrors and participates in the greater divine order. This sacred imitation not only reflects the divine, but also serves as a means for humans to connect with and comprehend the divine in a tangible manner. Continuing this, prayers, by their very nature, are an imitation of what is intellectual, and reflects the deep connection between thought, speech, and the divine. Prayer is not merely a vocal or external act, but a mental and spiritual exercise that engages the intellect. Through prayer, we seek to elevate our thoughts to surpass the material world and align our minds with higher truths. Just as the intellect operates through ideas, reason, and contemplation, prayer mirrors this intellectual activity by focusing the mind on the divine and the eternal. Prayers channel the human capacity for thought and reflection toward something greater and beyond the self, drawing us closer to the intellectual realm of the divine. Through this process, prayer becomes a bridge between the human intellect and the divine mind, imitating the pure, rational, and contemplative nature of the divine. In like manner, characters, whether mystical symbols, sacred scripts, or even certain rituals, are representations of superior ineffable powers. These characters go beyond the intellectual realm and invoke forces that are beyond human comprehension. The ineffable refers to that which cannot be fully spoken or explained in words alone, and these characters serve as a manner to tap into those transcendent powers. Sacred characters are symbols that hold profound significance because they encapsulate divine energies that exceed the limits of our own human language. They are not merely signs or letters, but representations of cosmic forces that govern the universe. When used in rituals or meditative practices, these characters act as keys that allow us to access realms of existence that surpass ordinary human experience. Through them, we are able to connect with the ineffable, or those higher powers that operate beyond the realm of intellectual understanding. The herbs that we use to blend incense, or stones, on the other hand, are considered to resemble the material or matter of our world. While prayer and sacred characters operate among the realm of intellectual and divine powers, herbs and stones are rooted here in the material world. These objects of the natural world represent the fundamental element of physical existence and embody the tangible and concrete aspects of creation. Herbs and stones are in possession of intrinsic properties that mirror the elemental forces of nature. Herbs often associated with healing, protection, or spiritual purification, and stones connected to the stability, grounding, and cosmic energies. The material nature of these substances do not lessen their spiritual significance. It instead highlights the belief that the divine is present even in the most physical and concrete aspects of our existence. Herbs and stones serve as the physical embodiment of the earth's natural power and are often used in rituals to channel specific energies or qualities present within the natural world. The symbolism of herbs and stones is also a reflection of the concept that matter carries the potential for transformation and connection with higher powers. Just as they are made up of the basic elements of the earth, they hold the capacity to be used in rituals that invoke spiritual forces. For example, specific stones are believed to hold protective qualities, while specific herbs may be used to heal both physical and spiritual ailments. In this manner, they represent the raw, primal forces of the universe that are essential to life, but they also serve as gateways for spiritual interactions, illustrating how the material world can be imbued with divine purpose. Bridging all of these together, prayers, characters, herbs, and stones create a complex spiritual framework that is capable of integrating both the intellectual and the material. Prayer draws us into the intellectual realm and helps us to focus our thoughts and intentions toward the divine, while sacred characters allow us to tap into the ineffable powers that transcend language and reason. Herbs and stones, meanwhile, remind us of the presence of the divine in all of the material world, illustrating that matter itself can be a vessel for divine forces. This approach gives us a worldview in which the intellectual and the ineffable and the material are all interconnected, each serving as a means to engage with the divine and participate in the larger cosmic order. Through all of these different forms of imitation, we align ourselves with the sacred and find pathways to connect with the divine. Now, for the controversial part of this discussion, the sacrifice of animals. Within this philosophical framework, it is symbolic of offering the irrational aspects of our souls. In this context, the irrational life refers to the lower instinctual, primal, and impulsive parts of our human nature which make up the emotions, desires, and basic urges that are not governed by reason. These are the aspects of the soul that, while they are natural to our being, can obstruct our spiritual clarity and higher understanding if not properly disciplined. By conducting an offering of animal sacrifice, we symbolically give up these base elements of our inner life as we seek to purify ourselves and merge closer to the divine. The act of sacrifice becomes a metaphor for personal transformation, symbolizing where the chaotic and unruly aspects of the soul are surrendered in the effort to attain a higher, more rational, and harmonious state of being. It is a ritualistic expression of the soul's desire to overcome its lower nature and align with the divine order. Just a disclaimer here, I am not advocating that everyone conduct animal sacrifices. Moving on. It should be emphasized that these offerings, whether modern forms of devotion or animal sacrifices, in no way affect the gods themselves. The divine is inherently perfect, complete, and unchanging, as we have discussed in detail through these videos. They exist beyond the limitations of need and deficiency. There is nothing we can offer that can add or enhance the nature of the gods, because they are complete. The gods, being self-sufficient, do not require sacrifices, prayers, or any form of worship to sustain or empower them. The notion reinforces the view that sacrifices are not about changing the gods, but rather changing ourselves. These ritual acts are performed not for the sake of the divine, but for the purification, elevation, and overall spiritual growth of our human soul. It is essential to understand that through the rituals, a deeper connection between our souls and the gods is fostered. The sacrifices that we perform, either literal or symbolic, are a manner in which we achieve union with the divine. Meanwhile, the gods remain unchanged by our offerings. It is through our sacrifices that we become more aligned with the divine nature. This union is the ultimate goal of spiritual practice, to bring the mortal soul into harmony with the divine order, to surpass the material and irrational aspects of one's life, and to awaken the higher rational and divine aspects within us. It is in this manner that sacrifice functions as a bridge linking the human to the divine, not the way it is often mistaken by altering the gods, but transforming ourselves. Furthermore, this conjunction exemplifies the reciprocal relationship between the human soul and the divine. Although the gods do not need us, we do indeed need the gods to attain spiritual wholeness and enlightenment. By the surrendering of the irrational parts of our being, which is symbolized by the animal sacrifice, although it is not required, we open ourselves to divine influence and allow the gods to impart wisdom, order, and grace into our lives. This spiritual exchange purifies the soul, enabling it to rise above its lower impulses and participate in the divine life. The sacrifice, therefore, is not about destruction, but about transformation. It is a process through which the soul sheds its imperfections and amplifies its own divine qualities, achieving a state of inner peace and unity with the cosmic order. So in conclusion, the act of sacrificing animals, which again is not a requirement, or more broadly, the relinquishment of the irrational aspects of the soul, is a profound spiritual practice that aims to foster a deeper connection with the divine. It is not the gods who are changed or enriched by the sacrifice, but the human soul that undergoes the transformation, shedding its base desires and aligning itself with the gods. This conjunction between the soul and the gods is the ultimate purpose of sacrifice. It symbolizes the soul's journey from disorder and irrationality to wisdom, clarity, and unity with the higher eternal principles of the divine realm. Through this process, we do not give the gods anything they lack, but we receive the greatest gift of all, a gift only achieved through union with the divine, spiritual elevation, and a deeper understanding of our place within the divine order. Well, now, if you found this video helpful, give it a like and be sure you're subscribed to the channel. Also, share this video as it really helps the channel to grow. If you have a different view on anything that was discussed in this video, please let me know in the comments below. I would like to hear it. Also, a reminder for everyone listening, there is now an Echoes from the Temple private Facebook community as well as the Discord community, which are both free to join, and you can find both in my link tree down in the description below. Also, if you are a devout practitioner of a pagan tradition or a practitioner of a magical tradition and would like to explain how it has changed your life, I would like to help you share your story here on this channel. Just as I have been sharing stories of the neophytes within the Church of Thessaly, so if that is you, contact me in any manner you want down in my link tree. So until next time, Salate.